Good morning, this is Deepak. So I'm back in New York just for one day. I had an amazing time in Saudi Arabia, and I want to thank everyone from Time Entertainment to the MISC organization, the Entertainment Authority, and also very specially Princess Amira, who was the main host, and she's chairperson of Time Entertainment. And she and Time Entertainment organized everything in 1 week. Both events were sold out, and I had the most amazing time. I met some of the greatest people there in the world of business, CEOs, several ministers, and also was very inspired by the Saudi 230 vision. I also met women's organizations, and was amazing. It was amazing for me to see the progress that women are making and how they are in many leadership positions. So thank you, Princess Amira, thank you, Time Entertainment, thank you, MISC organization, and thank you, the Entertainment Authority, and especially the Minister for the Entertainment Authority and the leader there, Ahmed El Khatib. So now, today, I'm asked an important question from Tyne, and we are discussing all the questions that are coming up from people who are reading You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self. And these questions come up on the website discoveringyourcosmicself.com. So do continue participating and do continue sending me questions from the book so that we can expand our collective awareness and therefore our collective intelligence and collective creativity, collective problem solving, and collective articulation of our vision, and then our collective manifestation of that vision. So if life is a dream, basically the question from Tyne, T-I-N-E, is how do we upgrade the dream? So here's what Tyne says. For you, Deepak, it seems you are living a great dream of success and good living. However, it seems so many of us that wake up are living in a dream we aren't enjoying. How can we create a dream that we want to be living? I have realized myself as the self, yet it isn't a place I live. I'm still this human being having the experience. I'd like to be happier, healthier, more successful as I live in this human being, as a human being. How can I change my world to reflect what I want it to be? Well, very good, Tyne. That's obviously a good question, but at least the first step is achieved. You're recognizing that most of us are asleep. As Wittgenstein said, our life is a dream. We are asleep, but once in a while we wake up enough to know that we are dreaming. And once we wake up enough to know that all is a projection of the self, conditioned self, then obviously it's time to upgrade the dream. So let's first answer the first part of your question, because you say that for you, Deepak, it seems you're living a great dream of success and good living. So true, but let me give you a little background. My father in India was an army doctor, and my mother was a full-time mother. And my first recollection of being aware to this world, you know how it is, that you don't even remember the first time you woke up to the awareness of the world, and yet you don't feel a stranger. It seems like here we are, here's the world, and it's not even strange. But my first recollection of awareness to this world was my mother telling me stories about great heroes and great mythological figures from religion and history. And then my second recollection is those stories slowly went in the direction of fantasy, and she would tell me those stories. I was very young, 5, 6 maybe. My little brother was maybe under 3, and we were always told stories at bedtime, and my mother would leave the story at what is usually called a cliffhanger and say, complete the story by tomorrow, make sure it's a love story, and make sure that it has a happy ending. So basically I grew up inventing stories or creating stories, because my mother always, as I said, left the story at a pivotal point, crisis. You know, the hero's in trouble, the heroine doesn't love him anymore, there are a lot of enemies and life conditions are terrible, and somehow we have to create a happy ending. So that was my training in storytelling and imagination in a great way. When I was 14 years old, my father, who was a great humanitarian by the way, my father used to see patients free of charge over weekends. They would come from all over the country. He would never charge them. My mother would make sure that they were fed, so she used to cook food for them, and before they left they would make sure that every patient who came to our home to see my father had enough money for their bus or their train. So Janice Singh, thank you for sharing the video. All others who are sharing the video, thank you. We must expand this conversation. So anyway, they would make sure that they had enough money to pay for their train or bus fare. Since my father was an army doctor, after a few years we left town, but every time we left town there would be 10,000 people at the station to see us off. So those are my earliest memories. I later went to medical school, and I struggled in medical school because I didn't have a good background in biology. I had to take extra classes in biology. I had studied only literature, wanted to be a writer, but at the last minute I decided I want to write ultimately about healing, which is what I'm doing. So it was a bit of a struggle going through medical school, and then I emigrated to the United States at the age of 24, and when I first arrived here I had no money at all. I used to get $200, about $220 every month as my internship salary. And actually when my daughter got pregnant, Malika, we didn't have enough money to pay for her delivery, my wife's delivery. So I had to actually send my wife to India to have a delivery. And then, I used to work very hard at the emergency room also, in addition to my internship, so I could make some extra money to pay the rent and to buy food for my family. And at that time it was $4 an hour, so 12 hours in the emergency room was $48, which was a fortune for me. So just to give you a little background, I grew up very privileged because I had the best parents in the world. That's the only privilege that counts. We were middle class, upper middle class, no, not really wealthy. But I had the best parents in the world, inspiring parents, role models. So that way I was privileged. I did struggle, and ultimately I found my place because I went with my passion. In the 80s, there was a very popular program in the United States on public television called The Power of Myth. And Joseph Campbell, an amazing storyteller, spoke about great heroes and heroines. And I decided to be a hero of my own life, to rewrite my story, which had a good past. Every story has a past, a present, a future. For a story to be good, the challenges in the present moment have to be formidable, so you can vanquish your demons. And you may fall many times, as I did, but you always get up and then you continue on your journey. So when I realized that medicine was incomplete and mechanistic, I decided to actually step out, even though I was vilified by the medical establishment and also vilified by my colleagues, and my books were vilified in the popular media. Quantum Healing, which came out in 1988, became a national bestseller, but before that I had published Creating Health, which was also a bestseller, and I had self-published it because no publisher wanted to buy the book. So I paid, I think, $5,000 to get it published, and it became a bestseller. And then after that, it was kind of history after I met Oprah and other people, all because my books were actually now getting mainstream attention. And I decided to be independent of the criticism of my colleagues. I decided to, what is it called, the phrase, to speak my truth and to act on it. And I decided to not only get out of the box, but get out of the box altogether, get rid of the box altogether. So then, of course, I extended my vision to more than physical healing. It became emotional healing and then spiritual healing. And now, for lack of a better word, I am focused on planetary healing, so that we can all enjoy, through our collective intention and collective longing and collective love in action, we can all move in the direction of a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier world. So that's my story. So now your second, and it's a story that happened because of situations, circumstances, events, but also because I took some initiative and responsibility for the dream that I was living in and for wanting to upgrade the dream. So your second question is, I have realized myself as the self, yet it isn't a place I live. Well, it can be a place where you can live. You can live in awareness, where you become the silent witness of mind, intellect, body, and the world. And when you live there, you see that you're living in possibilities. You know that you're living in possibilities. You know that this is a realm of creativity. You know that unpredictability is the source of all creativity. You know that imagination is very powerful. You know that intention is very powerful, especially when it comes from this level of the self, and is not influenced by the ego, the need for validation, the need for approval, the need to control. So when you come from this level, then there is only love in action. And as I've said before, love in action is the way to upgrade this dream, to actually live the life you want. But one must redefine success also, not just as financial or material success, but as the progressive realization of worthy goals, the ability to love and have compassion, the ability to nurture good relationships, the ability to serve, but most important, the ability to get in touch with the creative center in your being, which is the creative center of all being. Because the awareness in which I experience myself and my surroundings and my world is the same awareness in which you experience yourself and your surroundings and the world. And this is a field of infinite possibilities. So how can I change my world to reflect what I want it to be? Find your passion, find your purpose, be authentic, have integrity, take responsibility for everything that is happening around you, because it's a projection of your conditioned self, and have a higher calling. When your higher calling, which means you work for something much greater than yourself, when your job and your career all come together, you're unstoppable, and nothing will ever stop you. So learn to stay in the self, but act also from the self. The word in yoga is yogast kuru karmani, which means established in action, perform action. Don't lose your center. Don't make your ego as your internal reference point. Practice metacognition, which is the highest intelligence, which means the ability to observe yourself having a sensory experience, but also to the ability to observe your self-making conscious choices. The more you'll stay in witnessing awareness, the more power you will feel, the more you will feel stillness inside you in the midst of movement and chaos, the more you will have access to creativity, and the better you will harness collective longing, which is really the deepest level of what is happening in the zeitgeist, to see what does everyone want, what do they want in their lives, in their personal lives, in their relationships. And when you help serve the longing of others, when you create happiness for others, you not only fulfill your goals, but the whole world is behind you, and everybody is magnetized by your presence, so that your goals and their goals become one. So be present, don't be distracted, be friendly, listen to people, listen at all levels, being, feeling, thinking and doing and speaking, and then act with integrity and authenticity, always asking yourself, how can I serve, how can I serve? And then your dream will get upgraded. So I know I took a long time to answer this question, but there's nothing more important. To recognize that every moment is over as soon as it is born. Therefore, the journey never ends, that our life is a continuum of one dream manifesting as another dream all the time, a progressive expansion of manifestation, all the while realizing that what you see, what you perceive, what you experience is not who you are. You're the formless, timeless being in which all these experiences are arising and subsiding. So as formless, timeless being, you are eternal. As form, your body, mind and universe. And so you can be local and non-local at the same time. That is what it really means to be in this world and not of it. Be in this world and not of it. Walk your talk and serve all of life. Serve the planet, serve your country, serve your community, serve your family. And always, always be in touch with your deepest self. So Om Namaste, and 21 others joined you just now. Thank you, all of you, for being such a great support, joining the conversations and the questions that come from You Are the Universe right here on this website, discoveringyourcosmicself.com. Take care and God bless.